Hey there, fellow wanderers. You find yourself in the midst of an ancient desert, trapped in a ceaseless landscape of blinding golden sands. As far as the eye can see, dunes rise and fall like frozen waves beneath the blistering sun. The air shimmers with heat, and each breath you take fills your lungs with sizzling dryness. There's no modern respite Harino air conditioning, no cold refreshments, just the persistent burn of the sun above and the whispering touch of the sand below. Welcome to your workplace, where the daily grind is as harsh as the desert winds. This is not a fairy tale. The task before you is daunting. Erect monumental structures that defy time, power, and understanding even today. Stone by stone, these colossal buildings scrape the sky in homage to the Pharaoh, who presides like a demigod over life itself. But in this co-working space of slabs and sun, the sand's relentless embrace is your only constant companion. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. As you labor among a throng of workers, tasked with constructing the grandeur of the Pharaoh's vision, the sun's rays are an unforgiving adversary. The heat seems to consume everything: your energy, your hope, even your complexion. Some might say you can feel it singe your skin, but you have no sunscreen to fend off its attack. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen? It wasn't as uncommon as you'd think. Your linen shift clings to your back, damp with sweat yet providing little relief. You can't help but marvel at the paradox of your situation, charged with erecting a structure meant to last millennia, while your own body struggles to last the day. Historians still argue whether the architectural marvels of ancient Egypt were the brilliance of human ingenuity, or simply a testament to stubborn endurance. Yet here you are, personifying this very debate, driven by the need to survive and the promise of occasional beer and bread rations. While the rest of the ancient world slumbers in lesser ambitions, you toil, you shuffle stone, hand-tooled from quarries far and near, each piece a testament to brutal labor and divine aspiration. The air around you crackles like a furnace baking clay, fragrant with a smoky residue that seems to originate from the earth itself. As you maneuver a massive limestone block into place, your muscles protest, but the taskmaster's overseers stand ever vigilant, their eyes sharper than any chisel. You hear the distant bleating of goats, a reminder of the herders nearby who supplement your scant provisions. The atmosphere is taut with tension. For an architect's miscalculation could mean disaster, catastrophic failure, or worse, displeasure from the gods themselves. Casual conversation is sparse, reserved for moments out of sight and earshot of the overseers. Yet occasional humor slips through, camouflaged as complaints or tales exaggerated for camaraderie. "Did you hear about Asim?" whispers the worker beside you. "He sold his soul for an extra food ration. Now he grumbles. He's the Pharaoh's next pyramid." In the midst of your labor, the horizon shimmers like a mirage, and you wonder if the heat has transformed the world itself into a tapestry of illusion. But there's no time for dreams. A sudden bark from a foreman jolts you back to task. Imagine, explaining to the Pharaoh why his afterlife monument remains incomplete. Amid this swirling cauldron of sand and sweat, you maintain a fragile rhythm. Each stone laid is a victory against the elements, a small triumph encased in the enormity of your mission. Completion is a far-off star you orbit around, yet never reach, at least not today. As the sun inches downwards, easing its intensity, you find solace in small tokens gathered over time. Cool shadow beneath a ledge, a sip of water, and the whispered promise of evening's cooler embrace. You'll return tomorrow to face this desert, to sweat, strive, and endure. It seems that the gods toy with your fortitude, just as this wasteland tests it. The relentless cycle continues. In this twilight, however, relief whispers through the cooling breeze, hinting at a momentary respite. But as you head to your makeshift shelter, you can't help but wonder a question historians ponder to this day: what drives humanity to defy nature for immortality? Your only certainty is the heat and the grit beneath your fingertips. Sweet dreams, seeker of sun-soaked legacies. The sun rises again with relentless predictability, casting its golden nets across the land, each ray a reminder of the task at hand. You stand amidst the murmurs of fellow architects and laborers, your eyes squinting against the brilliance that reflects off the desert sands. Today promises more than its share of challenges as you face the immense expectations of the ruling pharaoh. The stakes are high, and the tolerance for error is non-existent. In the world of ancient Egypt, Pharaoh's word is loit, commands respect, awe, and no small amount of anxiety. It's said that pharaohs communicate with the gods themselves, and their decrees are not merely commands, but divine mandates. And here you are, tasked with transforming those celestial instructions into earthly manifestations using mere stone and sweat. As you carefully scrutinize the plans spread before you, the weight of your responsibility presses down with an almost tangible force. The blueprint of each edifice must adhere to the pharaoh's vision, an expectation carved as immovably as stone. Imagine yourself, face to face with the pharaoh, explaining a misplaced column or misaligned corridor. It would not be just a career-ending mistake, but one that resonates with divine displeasure. No pressure, right? The atmosphere buzzes with whispers of stories past, tales of architects who dared to innovate only to find themselves at the mercy of this land's fastidious rulers. Legend has it that Imhotep, the grand architect of the Step Pyramid, was elevated to divine status, providing a tempting reward for those who excel. Yet more common are stories of nameless architects whose inadvertent errors consigned them to obscurity, or worse. Design like your life depends on it leans less toward motivating advice and more toward grim reality. The sun rises over your construction site, casting long shadows that dance around the stone blocks. Already, the air grows thick with the building heat. The clamor of tools mingles with animated discussions on geometry and symmetry, spoken word, accompanied by the shuffling of sandals over the gritty sand. You make a mental note of every concern raised, of every calculation double-checked. Historians still debate whether architects were punished for errors by losing their place in society or simply vanishing like grains of sand in the wind. The truth remains shrouded in the mists of millennia, but you tread carefully, mindful of both your reputation and your safety. A gentle breeze whips through, momentarily slicing the desert's searing stillness. It's barely a whisper of coolness, yet enough to remind you of the Nile's comforting presence, a vein of life within this harsh landscape. Yet not even the Nile's generosity can cleanse the rising pressure inside you. The pharaoh's expectations lay heavy upon this earth, and it's up to you to ensure no stone deviates from its ordained place. Glancing at the pyramid's growing silhouette, its sheer scale inspires both awe and dread. It's said the edifice is a staircase to the heavens, each tier a step towards eternity. But for you, it's also a testament to long hours, sweat, and many a sleepless night filled with worries about underlings, over-ambitious timelines, and, naturally, misplaced blame. Among the thrumming of the work site, you hear snippets of jest shared among workers. Rumor holds that architects, despite their grand assignments, were just as human as those they instructed, prone to bouts of doubt, driven by dreams. Think the pharaoh will know if my chiseled dung beetle isn't divine enough, one laborer jests, drawing chuckles. Humor finds its way into the cracks of even the most monumental tasks, an antidote to the stress of potential disaster. Your day marches on in a flurry of effort and meticulous adjustments. By mid-afternoon, the weight of decisions, maidstones placed, adjustments pivoted, divine whispers heeded echoes in your mind. As the sun dips low, you find yourself studying the long shadows stretching from each carefully aligned block, pondering the invisible equations that govern their permanence. As the final call for the day's labor sounds, you step back, surveying the progress with critical eyes. There's an architect's pride evident in the taut curves and perfect angles, despite knowing that, like the works before yours, time and the elements will eventually take their toll. Yet this is your Legacian enduring echo of mortal efforts, straining to touch the divine. With the sun retreating into the horizon, you leave the site weary yet bolstered by a day's completion. You meander through the winding paths back to your quarters, where echoes of an ancient society mix with whispers of promises for eternity, knows those who carved its very visage. As you drift towards the embrace of sleep, remember the divine architecture above continues its watchful gaze, guided by the Pharaoh, demanding excellence, even if at times it's all for naught but dust. Sleep well, dreamer of stone and stars. The day dawns anew, tightly wrapping you in its customary blanket of warmth. Whereas some might rise to songs of birds, you are greeted by the clang of stones and cries of men. The life of an ancient Egyptian architect is one rooted in labor-backbreaking, muscle-aching labor, where every fiber of your being is engaged in a tireless battle against materials both stubborn and unyielding. As you make your way to the site, your sandals kicking up cascades of dust, the magnitude of your task looms like a spectre over your weary shoulders. Each stone block, transported from distant quarries, weighs as heavily on the mind as it does on your overburdened tools. The very stones that once lay serenely upon the earth are now objects of transformation, requiring the meticulous dedication of countless laborers whose backs bear the brunt of their movement. You join the masses in orchestrated chaos, a symphony of earth and sweat. Teams of workers are harnessed like oarsmen on a great ship, their collective effort the only force moving massive stones across fields of sand. Some claim that the ancients had wondrous ways of making stones float, powered by esoteric knowledge lost to time. But here, there are no mysteries only rope and calloused hands. The gears of this monumental machine creak and groan, echoing complaints you've come to know all too well. Beneath the sun's unwavering gaze, your skin is painted with a growing tapestry of dust and grime. Yet, amid this grime lies the thrill of creation, each heave and pull drawing you closer to an immortal legacy. Today's challenges merge with those of yesterday's and caught in machinery, pulleys that slip, ropes that fray, and yet forward you push, inch by dusty inch. Constructing a pyramid is akin to solving an unyielding puzzle. Every stone must find its fit within the grand design. Historians still argue whether it was math, magic, or mere mad optimism that guided these constructions to completion. You stand at the intersection of mystery and engineering, where science inches towards the sacred. The sun beats relentlessly as straw hats provide insufficient shade. Humor becomes a shared lightness, an escape from the burden of brawn. Why did the pharaoh refuse a block of cheese? An overseer jests to a group of workers loitering between tasks. Because his pyramid was already full of holes. A groan ripples through the crowd, the shared laugh a momentary lift from the weight of the day's demands. You take pause by a block of stonits, surface cool to the touch, a gift from the night air not yet burned away. It rests there, waiting, defying the forces that seek to move it. You reflect on the paradox of progress, where time itself becomes an ally and a foe, relentless in urging completion yet enemy to structure and sanity. Lost for a moment in thought, you feel presents an old craftsman standing nearby, his deep-lined face etched with the legacy of 1,000 sunsets. His eyes hold tales of past endeavors, successes, and missteps long forgotten. He approaches with the sagacity of years, offering a silent nod of encouragement. It's moments like these, whispered lessons passed in the space between breaths, that embolden you to face another test of mettle. The afternoon wanes, and with it, a sense of accomplishment woven into bone-deep exhaustion. The labor might someday mold stones into immortality, but for now, bread and beer, those rare indulgences, reward the day's efforts. Gathered around simple bowls, you and your colleagues trade tales of fanciful afterlives and mundane tool repairs, laughing away the aches of the day's grueling tasks. As the horizon swallows the sun, marking an end to labor's tyranny, you journey back to the carved shelter you call home. The reprieve is brief, yet welcome. You've been forged in this crucibly a worker of wonders, an architect of tomorrow's past. Here, amid dreams painted with the dust of the ages, you find solace and sleep. Tomorrow, the stones will stand ready, whispering silent challenges. They await your strength and cunning, but for now, sweet repose is your companion, its embrace as sure as the enduring monuments you strive to build. Dream gently, for while the stones sleep not, you most certainly must. As dawn breaks, the sky is painted in hues of fiery orange and soft pinks, offering a brief moment of beauty before the day's relentless heat takes hold. But beauty is fleeting, much like tranquility, which is disrupted as you prepare to face another day's toil. Today promises no ordinary hurdles. You stand on the precipice of the unpredictable sandstorms that writhed through the desert like mythical beasts. The desert, as you've come to know it, is a living entity, capricious and powerful. While the morning gives off a deceptive calm, there are signs. The air is thick with an uneasy stillness, and in the distance you catch sight of a dark band on the horizon. Fellow workers exchange grim nods, acknowledging the approach of a sandstorm, a tempest heralded by ancient whispers and modern dread alike. As the day unfolds, work presses forward with urgency. You hurry to position stone blocks and secure tools, casting worried glances at an encroaching storm, its progress marked by the moaning of the wind and a darkening sky. The air begins to buzz with a chaotic energy, the precursor to the oncoming maelstrom that promises to scatter plans like chaff in a relentless gust. A sharp gust signals the storm's arrival, the wind's breath now, a howl that drowns out all conversation. The air becomes a tapestry of roiling gold and ochre as particles of sand are flung with ferocity against your skin. It prickles and stings, finding its way into every crevice, leaving no respite from its invasive touch. Your eyes squint against the assault, fabric drawn tightly across your face as a makeshift shield, albeit an inadequate one. Some seek shelter behind structures, while others are tasked with the impossible protecting precious blueprints from a sandpaper sky. The storm's fury is unleashed, and sight is reduced to mere inches as a drapery of sand consumes nearly everything. Teams that once worked in synchrony find themselves isolated by blinding swirls, each a solitary figure battling against nature's wrath. Amid this tempest, humor surfaces, absurd as it might sound. A fellow worker hunkers down beside you, shouting over the wind, "I always wanted to see the Sphinx. Guess I'll have to imagine it through a curtain of grit." His grin is barely visible from beneath the layers of fabric and sand. Together, you cling to moments like these, when laughter punctuates the chaos, a reminder of shared resilience. Yet beneath the laughter lies genuine concern. Sandstorms carry with them more than just particles. They bring an erosion of both physical and mental fortitude. Structures carefully set may be dislodged, plans meticulously drawn might disappear into the swirling chaos. Historians still argue whether such storms were considered a means of divine intervention, or simply nature's unpredictable embrace. Regardless, you maneuver within its fury, each step a cautious negotiation with forces beyond comprehension. As suddenly as it began, the storm begins to wane, its mighty roar softened to a whisper as grains of sand settle back to earth. The spectacle leaves behind a ghostly landscape, altered in ways both minor and profound by its passage. You emerge from your makeshift refuge, tools in hand, ready to assess the damage and debris left in its wake. The sun peeks tentatively through dissipating clouds, its rays cast in beams that cut through lingering shrouds of dust. You squint again, though not for fear of sand, but in part disbelief that once again, life resumes in the storm's aftermath. The desert seems paradoxically peaceful now, as if it revels in the battle just fought against you and your crew. You find solace in the collective sigh of relief among your colleagues, each keen to return to their duties as the day wears on, racing against time to make up for lost hours. Dusty, battered, yet grimly resolute, you return to the task at hand. The awe and wonder of ancient stone meld with the realization of nature's supremacy. Today was a reminder of this perpetual dance, the balance between humanity's ambition and the profound silence of the desert's voice. As evening descends, you retrace your footsteps back to the solace of home. Today, every grain of sand tells a tale. Every breath carries the memory of survival. You feel the gentle pull of sleep, its promise of renewal, as comforting as the construction's steady hourly rhythms. And so, as eyes close and dreams take root, the last whisper of sand resonates within. Feel it slip past you, too soft to resist, a gentle reminder of the mighty storm that came and went, leaving you stronger, forged anew. Rest now, for tomorrow brings its own trials, and for them you'd best be ready. The night sky has slipped away like a thief, leaving behind the quiet prelude to dawn. As you stand on what will soon be another bustling day of construction, your thoughts stray beyond the physical realm. In the land of ancient Egypt, the whispers of gods are never far away, their presence insinuating itself into every aspect of life. As an architect, you are as much strategist as spiritual envoy, translating the divine directives into structures that touch the heavens soar, at least their earthly counterpart, the towering pyramids and grand temples. The high priests carry their own power, wielding a complex web of influence that can shape royal decrees. Their insistence on celestial alignments and divine intercourse means architects like you are guided by forces both visible and invisible. It's not enough for the walls to stand rigid or columns to carry weight. They must dance in harmony with the stars, resonate with the chants that fill temple courtyards, and capture the invisible energies that bind the kingdom to the divine. As the sun rises and the day's chorus of labor begins, you ponder the dual nature of your work. In addition to stone and sweat, you must build in soul and spirit. The gods do not accept flaws lightly. Make no mistake, designing such grand visions mandates perfection. You remember the words attributed to ancient legend. When the gods demand divinity from mortals, only the faithful dare to tread that precipice. Your daily sketches are never mere blueprints, but intricate maps of cosmic intention. Catalogues of detailed measurements and sacred geometry fill your workspace, demanding attention to both number and omen. Your plans strive not just for monumentality, but an alignment with the divine order, the celestial blueprint upon which earthly structures mirror their heavenly origins. Today, the Temple of Amun-Re commands your attention. This grand sanctuary must be a beacon, its every stone in place to channel the god's presence. The priests insist upon prophecies derived from the roots of the stars and the flow of the Nile, speaking in tongues of enigma that would baffle even the most learned scribes. Historians still argue whether these directives were based on sacred mathematics or simply the whims of the divine. But your role leaves little room for skepticism. You proceed, trusting in skills honed by years of trudging this sacred ground. Winds pick up, swirling sand beneath a sun that climbs towards its zenith. As you navigate the site, the hum of preparation grows below you. Harnesses tightened, ropes secured, prayers muttered. Workers pause to honor Ra as he canvasses the sky, his light fortifying their toil. The temple rises, as ordered and majestic as the deity it seeks to venerate. A fellow architect ambles by, sharing in the momentary lull with words that cloak his seriousness in jest. Align the stones but misalign a prophecy, and we might find our legacy struck by lightning or laughter from the gods, he quips, shrugging as though testing the very binding of the world. Yet laughter is its own kind of prayer, and it lightens your heart as you resume your duties, inspecting the arcs and spans born of earth, but conceived in divinity. The day stretches like rafts of carved stone, each hour carved with care and diligence. Eventually, the sun's harsh gaze softens, its watchful presence retreating as shadows lengthen. Reflection creeps into your thoughts as the day winds to a close. You stand in the vast quietude of dusk, watching as another day's work sinks into silhouetted drenched in amber and violet, infused with a sense of kinship between human striving and divine design. Tomorrow will demand more stones laid, more divine alignments checked, and each day the temple creeps closer to the heavens, a shared journey between toil and transcendence. As you retire for the evening, you find peace in understanding, if not acceptance. The conflict between the earth's labor and celestial aspirations shapes you as much as it does the monuments. Tonight, rest embraces you as anticipation swirls with the dark, dream-woven fabric of Egyptian night. Sleep comes, soft as starlight, enveloping you in the vastness of the sky and gazing at the dreams drawn of mortal hands and divine whispers. Rest well, dreamer between worlds, for this sacred dance endures. The dawn arrives as it always does, with a soft glow that begins as a thin band of light on the horizon, slowly filling the land with warmth and life. The air is still cool, and in these brief moments before the sun's full ascent, you savor a respite from the heat that will inevitably follow. The aroma of dust mingles with morning dew, grounding you once more in the reality of your daily toil. Standing amid the cacophony of the worksite, you glance at the primitive tools laid out before you, a collection of hammers, chisels, levers, and weights, the essential instruments of your craftsmanship. As an ancient Egyptian architect, these tools are your lifeline. You wield them with precision. Each strike and lever heave a testament to your skill. But make no mistake, the frustration they bring is paramount. Today's tasks demand mastery of these instruments, which, despite their simplicity, require a deft hand and patient mind. With no power tools or modern machinery to aid you, the completion of pharaonic visions depends on a cooperation between brawn and ingenuity. You caress the worn handle of a chisel and wonder fleetingly how pure ambition drove you to such a punishing endeavor. Even now, as you set to work shaping stone, the rhythm becomes both meditative and maddening. With each stroke, you fight the stone's stubbornness, pieces flaking away like grains of sand. Each chip another step closer to your goal. Historians still argue whether the ancients devised secret methods, come marvelously advanced techniques, or mere determination. But you know that here, in this moment, it is simply skill and perseverance that bridge the gap between stone and vision. A fellow craftsman, with whom you've spent many shifts beneath the watchful eye of Ra, sidles up to you with a knowing grin. If we could find a way to charm these tools to carve for us, we'd be pharaohs by now, he muses with a wink. The suggestion is a humorous reverie, but in the stifling heat, every jest offers a moment's relief from the weight of labor. Under the midday sun, your attention wanders to the construction stretch spanning before you. Timber scaffolding hugs the skeleton of becoming structures, each plank a thread stretching through the desert's labyrinthine infinity. There's an artful dance in applying precise measurements, always with an eye towards balance, symmetry, and the dictates of the hierophants. Like an orchestra without sound, you and your fellow workers strike harmonious chords with each movement of hammer and chisel. Beneath your feet, the earth's soft vibrations whisper stories, the eternal dialogue between the unyielding stone and human hands, as they sculpt immortality from raw, inanimate material. With tired fingers, you record each accomplishment upon papyrus, those fragile sheets bearing the legacy of your innumerable days beneath an uncompromising sky. Maintaining these records is a challenge in itself, so akin to building sandcastles against the tide. By late afternoon, fatigue lays its mellow weight across your shoulders. You rub your eyes, squinting against the gritty residue that coats everything in a layer of time. It follows you into the evening, a constant reminder of your day's exertions. Yet within that discomfort lies pridea, singular satisfaction found in creation, even though you know well that it demands more grit than glamour. The sun creeps towards the western horizon, casting your elongated shadow across a landscape that continues to blend human endeavor with natural order. Workers gather their tools for the night, stowing them with care as sacred relics of a laborious pilgrimage. You breathe deeply, feeling every muscle's ache transform into testament and resolve. As twilight swathes the world in a serene darkness, you sense the comfort of ancient continuity, folding around your weary yet relentless spirit. In this land of stone and dust, rest awaits like a welcoming embrace, promising to revive ambition and strength before tomorrow's dawn. Tonight, dreams promise refuge, a restful interlude between chapters of an endless tale written in sweat and stone. Trust that these tools, as crude as they might seem, serve as conduits of greatness, wielded by those like yourself who dare to challenge the sands of time. Sleep well, patient sculptor of eternity, for morning comes soon enough. As dawn breaks once more, streaks of light pierce the horizon, waking the landscape in a slow, deliberate embrace. You find the air still cool, a fleeting reprieve before the sun climbs higher. Today, amid the relentless heat, you face a challenge not of stone, but of preserving the wisdom and complexities bound within fragile papyrus. Each scroll in your possession is a connection to both past and future. These delicate documents act as blueprints, repositories of measurements, and detailed instructions critical to the monumental projects upon which you toil. The task of maintaining these records amidst the elements is its own kind of architectural feat. Breathless calculations and refined plans cling to the paper with a precariousness echoing your every step along the sandy site. You unfurl a scroll and let your eyes drift over the familiar columns of hieratic script, each symbol a piece of the puzzle in constructing Egypt's grandeur. Historians still debate the exact methods used by ancient architects to manage the vast quantities of information. But it's common for records to be duplicated continually, a practice born of necessity, where every replica safeguards against loss. The parchments that capture these visions balance precariously between the sublime and the mundane. Constructing a pyramid or temple is not merely an exercise in physical labor, but a symphony of logistics, where each stroke of ink must translate seamlessly into structures of stone. As you immerse yourself in the details, a breeze kicks up, carelessly lifting the edges of the scroll in a playful taunt. You reach out instinctively, pinning the sheet down with fingers and a sigh, another reminder of the constant interplay between the natural and the constructed, chaos and order. Around you, the day's work begins to knit itself into the morning hum. Sandals scuff against stone. Workers gather for the tasks that weave their story alongside your own. Over the din, a familiar voice calls out a colleague, jestingly remarking on your vocation's precarious nature. "Write those numbers clearly," he chuckles, gesturing with a mock-serious nod. "Doing it twice for clarity beats doing it twice because we can't read your chicken scratch." His humor, albeit dry, is a gift wrapped in good-natured camaraderie, fostering moments of warmth amid the efficiency of sun-bleached monotony. It's a reminder that even when your head is buried in scrolls, you're part of a collective effort, each person contributing to the edifice taking shape within minds and on land alike. As the day unfolds, you move through the tasks. With rhythm it becomes a dance, fingers inking parchment, measuring string and stone, one eye ever vigilant for snakes, or worse yet, a costly mistake. The shadows stretch, and with them comes contemplation. In many ways, paper proves as stubborn as stone, at least when coaxing permanence from transformation. When the sun finally dips low, painting the horizon in shades of molten gold and deep violet, you carefully pack away the scrolls. Each leaf represents an investment of thought, precision, and dreams held fast against time itself. It is easy to imagine the papyrus sighing its own relief, having travelled through another day unscathed against the winds of change. As night falls, the sight grows silent, save for the murmurs of the breeze through scaffolding and stony, gentle, comforting hand brushing whisper-like upon your weary brow. As you retire, your mind lingers on the meld between ink and imagination, immersed in the hopes captured within those fibres drawn from river shore. You settle into your resting place, thoughts of lines and measurements receding in the growing comfort of approaching sleep. Remember, the art of building rests not just in the body, but is cradled by the mind. Though imbued with tedium, its rhythm syncs with the pulse of history, constant echo of human endeavour on the scale of divine ambition. Rest now, scribe of stone and shadows. With each day, the legacy inscribed assumes its place upon the narrative of an enduring land, shaping both the present and future beneath your gentle tread. As another day unfolds, the soft hues of early dawn wash over the ancient landscape like a painter's gentle brushstrokes, casting a serene light upon an empire forever in flux. You stand on the threshold of the worksite, taking in the sprawling vista of half-erected columns and carefully laid stones that stretch before you. Each monument to Egyptian divinity rises from the sands, a testament to human tenacity and ambition. Yet those who craft such wonders often remain cloaked in anonymity. In a world shaped by divine rulers, architects occupy a peculiar space, a paradox of obscurity amidst grandiosity. The edifices you labor to construct loom large in history, but your name is a mere whisper, seldom granted the immortality promised to the pharaohs and their courtiers. To be an ancient Egyptian architect is to embrace the art of creating legacy without personal aggrandizement. Each day's toil a contribution to the narrative of the empire, even as your identity fades into its shadows. As you survey the site, your fellow workers bustle around you, murmuring in harmonious rhythm with the chisel and hammer. Leaders emerge from among their peers, delegate tasks, and ensure the grand vision is pursued with rigor. To the modern world, their faces would be as indistinguishable as grains of sand on a desert dune. Yet here, among the ordered chaos, you know each by name, each inflection in their voice as familiar as the stones they sculpt. Historians still debate whether architectural oversight was a role of prestige or quiet servitude, a title. born in service to gods and kings, bound by a duty far greater than transient glories. You find satisfaction in this duality, understanding the work as both a personal sacrifice and a gift to eternity. As the sun climbs higher, casting stark shadows and sharp reliefs, a gentle nudge from a colleague draws you back to the moment's demands. "Dreaming of your own pyramid, are we?" he teases, acknowledging both the humor and reality of your collective endeavor. The laughter mingles with dust in the arid air, and with it you find a sliver of contentment, knowing your role, though hidden, is vital. Each towering monument, each splash of shadow and light across intricately carved walls, speaks of a labor that transcends the need for personal recognition. In your heart, you've come to appreciate the subtle beauty of anonymity, the satisfaction derived from shaping the earth and aligning it with the celestial fabric of the universe. Throughout the day, your gaze is drawn repeatedly to the myriad architectural intricacies, a lintel crafted to withstand the ages, a column so aligned it becomes a sundial, marking time's infinite passage. As you collaborate with scribes and masons, sharing insights on angles and alignments, every contribution melds into a collective heartbeat. By mid-afternoon, the air shimmers with heat, and the sharp light refracts off stone, dazzling in its aloof, golden glow. The site hums with the symphony of construction, the songs of workers raised ever higher, each voice a note in this human orchestra of ambition. Your tasks unfold one by one, each detail, however minute, reinforcing your place within this grand tapestry. As the sun dips lower, weaving the sky with strands of orange and crimson, you pause to gather tools, the ancient implements of your trade worn smooth by steady hands. You look back over the day's efforts, seeing the incremental progress and marveling at the symbiotic relationship between labor and spirit, anonymity and contribution. So too, the evening draws close, gentle as a canopy of stars unfurling across the heavens. You find solace in the close of day, assured in the knowledge that the monuments rising around you will stand long after your own story is lost to the sands. The worksite fades into shadows along with your fellow architects, each silently returning to their separate worlds, tethered by a common goal. In the solitude of night, beneath a vast expanse of stars, you ponder the nature of legacy. Each breath feels laden with the dust of ages, the stones you've hewn the silent testament to your craft. In your heart, you embrace your role as part of this ceaseless continuum, and the peace elusive to many wraps you in a gentle embrace. Lean into slumber, dream maker, without a name, for your tribute is one paid to both history and the divine. The stars will guide you, always, as long as the monuments you build continue to point the way. Sleep now beneath their watchful gaze, confident in the knowledge that, though unacknowledged, your essence is cradled within their scaffolded beams. The dawn comes with a golden resilience, painting the sky with the promise of another day of challenges and accomplishments. You step onto the worksite, greeted by the rhythm of hammers and chisels, each sound a note in the grand symphony of construction. Yet today, beneath the clamor of creation, a subtle tension hums a reflection of the unspoken competition that courses through every architect's veins. The stakes are palpable, a silent race, not for recognition, but for favor in the eyes of the pharaoh. The ancient Egyptians knew well the art of competition, especially among the builders of their vast and storied civilization. The demand for grander, more imposing structures was a steady current pulling all architects into its flow, each vying to erect monuments that would etch their patron's legacy into stone and perhaps secure their own fleeting moment in history. As you make your way through the lively, ordered chaos of the site, you can almost feel the weight of expectations upon your shoulders. Others like you are driven by a relentless ambition, their eyes gleaming with visions of grandeur. Rumors swirl of the pharaoh visiting soon, casting an undercurrent of pressure over the day's endeavors. Those who impress him with innovative designs or miraculous efficiency stand to gain much, but the sting of failure can be severe. Amid the fervor, familiar banter weaves through the morning air, dispelling some of the tension. "What do you call an architect who dreams too high?" a fellow builder asks, pausing to wipe sweat from his brow. "A lunatic architect, crafting in the moonlight without rope." The men laugh heartily, recalling the whimsical fantasies that spring from hard work and sun-drenched delirium. Yet even in the jest, a glimmer of truth shines. Creativity is both cherished and risky. Innovation must be balanced with caution, for a misstep could mean collapse, both structural and reputational. Historians still argue whether safe tradition or bold innovation was more highly prized. But here, amid the dust and stones, the excitement of rivalry is undeniable. Today's tasks take you beyond the mere shaping of stone. They plunge you deep into the dizzying dance of strategy and foresight. Your mind races with possible maneuvers to cement the favor of the gods and rulers alike. Sketches twist across parchment under your experienced hand, ideas sparking like flint to steel, each attempting to outshine the last. The sun climbs higher, and the heat settles in a shimmering dance that obscures distant forms and plays tricks on the eye. A breathless energy animates your fellow architects, interpreted from the whispers of an impending royal visit. You find yourself drawn into the swirling vortex of ambition, matching intensity with precision as you work to ensure that your contributions stand out amid the aggregation of efforts. By early afternoon, chatter reaches a crescendo of anticipation. Conversations hedge on the outcome of Pharaoh's future accolades, each wager spoken with both jest and sincerity as men place bets disguised as friendly banter. Still, amid the competition, a sense of camaraderie blossomed, mutual understanding of shared dreams and toils, binding architects in an unspoken fraternity. As the day draws to a close, exhaustion mingles with exhilaration. You pause to survey the progress made, satisfaction mingling with the lingering whispers of rivalry. The atmosphere hums with the final flurry of adjustments and end-of-day checks to ensure that everything is in place. In the velvet embrace of evening, as the workers begin fading into the shadows cast by the rising pillars, you stand quietly beneath the canopy strewn with stars. Thoughts float like papyrus on the Nile, adrift between aspirations realized and those yet unmet. Back in the solitude of your quarters, a restful silence beckons. Your mind replays the day's unrelenting competition, a dance upon the edge of perfection and ambition, chasing favor like the golden rays of disappearing daylight. As your eyelids grow heavy, the chirps of nocturnal life weave a lullaby of dreams filled with structures yet to rise and challenges patiently waiting their turn. Through sleep's gentle whisper, remember that rivalry, tempered by the soft assurances of shared goals, is the crucible of greatness. Rest now, dreamer amid the mighty, for tomorrow dawns with fresh promise and renewed pursuit beneath the vast eternal sky. The first light of morning creeps over the horizon, and as you make your way to the worksite, a familiar chill runs down your spine, not from the cool desert breeze, but from the tales and superstitions that haunt the shadows of your consciousness. In the land of ancient Egypt, where gods walk with mortals and legends permeate the air as thickly as the dust, the boundary between the tangible and the spectral is ever thin. Today, as you prepare to oversee another day of intense construction, you grapple with more than the physical weight of stone. Echoes of misaligned blocks and unsanctioned deviations ring louder with every step. In this realm, stories of ghostly visitors swirl, tales of past architects who failed to please both the earthly rulers and the celestial ones, their spirits doomed to wander the ruins they once strove to build. These aren't just campfire stories whispered among laborers. They are etched into the collective memory, tales of forebears whose errors left monuments askew or whose edifices crumbled under divine disfavor. When the margins for error are so slim, it's not just the memory of a pharaoh's displeasure that lingers, but the feeling that those who came before might be watching, perhaps eager to lend a hindering hand. You find solace amid the camaraderie of your fellow architects, where humor serves as a bulwark against such fears. Approaches to stave off spectral disquiet range from practical yet hasty repair work to whispered offerings made beneath the stars. Why must the dead stay dead when we could use their advice? A colleague rhetorically quips, stooping to inspect a line of intricately carved hieroglyphs. The joke masks a common unspoken wish. If only the spirits could advise from beyond the plastered walls rather than scowl through the midnight haze. Beneath the afternoon sun, as sweat drips from brow to blueprints, you pause to contemplate the struggle between duty and phantasm. Navigating this world demands not only architectural precision, but an unwavering spiritual compass. Historians still argue whether past failures were attributed to incompetence or divine mustering, but for you and your peers, the spectre of past missteps pushes you to greater diligence. As the sun arcs into its inevitable descent, leaving long shadows stretching across the sands, the day's grind weaves into an intricate tapestry of geometry and superstition. Each block precisely adjusted, every column realigned to meet both earthly metrics and ethereal expectations, render the worksite a harmony of stone and spirit, a silent recognition of the souls who may hover just out of sight. As the twilight enwraps the land, whispers of stories from generations past seem audible in the dusk's murmur. You look upon the awe-imposing structures, awaiting the nightfall like guardians of the mysteries bound within papyri and whispered prayers. There's a comfort of sorts found in the acknowledgement that your path is not new cycle, repeated upon humankind's unending pursuit to appease both sky and earth. As you retire at day's end, the worksite now quiet, save for the whispering wind and the sighed release of stone from the sun's embrace, a deep fatigue whispers behind your eyes. Yet, beneath any lingering unease is a certain peace, a silent compact with those who once walked this path and with those who shall continue it, tethered to the past and casting shadows forward. You slide into sleep, the boundary between realms slipping silently away, carried on a lullaby woven from the echoes of reverent chants and windswept sighs. Let your dreams wander the corridors of stone erected both today and yesteryear. Rest well, partner in stone and spirit, for tomorrow brings yet another chapter in the tale of creation, where the past weaves delicately through the fabric of now. The desert sun peers over the horizon, ushering in another day of relentless duty and diligent planning. You stand at the edge of the worksite, its sprawling expanse, a canvas of ambition, awaiting precise strokes and strategic vision. Yet, as your eyes wander over the bustling activity, the reality of your constraints looms heavily a constant, silent companion in the form of scarce resources. In the life of an ancient Egyptian architect, you quickly learn that your work is not solely a triumph of design and labor, but also a delicate dance of resource management. Each stone, tool, and worker is a moving piece in the intricate game of supply and demand. The grandeur demanded by pharaohs and the divine aspirations embedded in your blueprints often feel a world apart from the tangible scarcity with which you grapple daily. As the sun climbs, bearing down on the earth with its familiar fiery touch, you make your way through the rows of stone and scaffolding, each step a delicate negotiation between grandeur and practicality. You find yourself among the crews, orchestrating the movement of blocks where availability seems to contract like shades across the desert sands. Your thoughts whirl with the logistics of balancing what you have with what is needed, your mind a ledger tallying costs against visions. A rolling laugh drifts through the air, momentarily distracting from the mental calculations. How does an architect make ends meet? A voice shouts over the clanging of tools. By building a bridge over imagination. Chuckles ripple across the site, the jest a shared nod to the daily miracles coaxed from finite supplies stretched towards infinite ambitions. As you wander the worksite, you ponder the best ways to prioritize resources without compromising the integrity of the structures under your watch. Limestone hauled from distant quarries, timber requisitioned from lands ephemeral require meticulous planning and sometimes creativity. The delicate nature of planning is no less stressed by the additional desire to please those who dictate your pace, without regard for nature's inherent limits. Historians still debate just how the towering pyramids and sweeping temples were engineered against the constraints of time and materials, but looking out over the landscape, you feel the pulse of collaboration that spurs innovation. When the grandeur of Pharaoh defies nature itself, adaptability and ingenuity must prevail where resources fall short. By midday, the sun is a massive, searing eye, watching over a scene of orchestrated chaos. In the heart of the frenzy, supplies of copper tools, essential for shaping the robustness of stone, run thin. It's a minor crisis, and yet another reminder that even minor shortages can ripple outward in unexpected ways. You tighten processes and make quick decisions about which facets might wait and which must be pushed forward. By afternoon's ebb, you gather with other key figures, scribes and overseers, together finding ways to pull from reserves yet undiscovered and efficiencies yet untried. These meetings are a testament to human ingenuity and cooperative resilience, each mind working like a gear in a machine, finely tuned to bend reality to its will. As the day draws to a close, a soft light casts the worksite in hues of bronze and grey. You stand once again at its edge, where shadows stretch in elegant unwinding lines across newly laid foundations. The day's work is complete, meticulously crafted from the art of making much from little. Here, between the finite and the eternal, lies the heart of ancient ingenuity, the magic of creation born of necessity. When night finally unfurls its dark embrace over the stones, you retire with the knowledge that tomorrow the dance begins anew. Though the stretch of materials challenges norms, it also births innovation, ensuring that each sunlit dawn unveils the continuation of this ageless endeavor. In the silence of your nightly rest, dreams thread through visions of stone rising against the sky, each facet a monument to problem-solving and resourcefulness. Sleep well, solver of scarcity, for tomorrow you forge anew amid the sands, another chapter in the timeless narrative of man's resilience before nature. The morning sun slips steadily into the sky, bathing the land in its golden embrace. As you arrive at the worksite, the air is already filled with the hum of activity, a chorus of clinking tools and determined voices. Today, however, a unique concern weighs on your Minden ever-present and unpredictable dance with the Nile. The Nile River, lifeblood of Egypt, courses its way through history as a generous provider, but also a capricious force demanding respect and reverence. Its waters are essential for moving heavy stones from distant quarries and irrigating the farmland that feeds the masses. Yet the very river that sustains life can also thwart the grand visions of pharaohs and architects alike, with its whims of flooding and drought. As you consider the detailed logistical plans for the day, your gaze drifts to the waters gliding by, their calm surface betraying none of the potential chaos hidden beneath. The river's temperament is legendary. Historians still argue over the exact methods used by ancient Egyptians to anticipate its rises and falls, but even the best efforts require adaptation and patience. The workers, seasoned by years of experience, share their own tales of past encounters with the unpredictable Nile. Had to row against crocodiles last season just to save our stone stash, one laborer quips, drawing laughter from those within earshot. The humor cushions the ever-present tension surrounding this untamed lifeline. Amid the myriad tasks that weave your day, part of your mind remains fixed on the flow just beyond the worksite. Your thoughts mirror the current's dance, as you strategize the production line's efficiency and manage schedules that must flex with the river's capricious nature. While you oversee the placement of towering stone blocks and direct the rhythm of your workers' efforts, the Nile's moods hover like a distant conductor, charting a symphony of its own. As midday approaches, a telltale ripple through the camp draws your attention to the water's edge. Words of warning come briskly, foretelling an unexpected rise of the river. Quickly, you move with urgency, issuing orders to safeguard materials and redirect priorities. Part of you thrills at the sudden shift demanded by nature's Whimsy test of real-time wisdom and the agility that has marked your success in these roles. The site teems with activity, a hive of focused energy to secure provisions before the water reaches its unlikely crescendo. Discussions bloom among team leaders as they craft solutions a perfect showcase for the collective ingenuity spurred by urgency. There's little hope in halting the flow, but adaptation, after all, is a craft unto itself, honed by generations beneath this ever-changing sky. The Nile's surge proves short-lived, its waters withdrawing gradually as the afternoon sun sinks lower. You take a moment to assess the scene, allowing the tension that's coiled within to unravel. A sense of relief washes over you like the fresh breeze that trails behind the water's recession. The worksite still stands firm, a testament to the dance between prudence and progress. Evening descends with a deliberate grace, and as night enfolds the land, painting the erected structures with shades of deep indigo and silver, you trace the power of the Nile in your thoughts. The river may refuse to follow any path laid out by human hands, but above the uncertainty and even frustration, it offers lessons in resilience and adaptability qualities, as vital to an architect as any blueprint or quarry stone. Under the cover of star-studded skies, you retire, soothed by the riverine lullabies whispered through moonlit reeds. As you drift into restful slumber, the Nile echoes in your dreamsits lessons of flexibility and foresight, its promise and its peril entwined. Sleep well, traveler alongside the currents of time, for the river will rise anew with the dawn, and with it, the story continues. The sun begins its climb into the sky, casting long, lean shadows over the contours of the land. The cool morning breeze is a welcome visitor, swirling gently through the encampment as the first stirrings of life ripple across the bustling worksite. Today, as you turn your gaze towards the Nile's enduring flow, one of its most formidable denizens comes to mind: crocodiles, those reticent ancestors of our prehistoric past. Living and working near the Nile demands respect for all its creatures, but the Nile crocodile holds a particularly sharp edge in your awareness. These stealthy giants, often invisible beneath the placid surface, command both awe and caution. In ancient Egypt, they were seen not just as fearsome predators, but as manifestations of Sobek, the crocodile god symbols of strength and fertility, yet potentially dangerous if crossed. As dawn unfurls into day, you and your fellow workers begin the rigors of stone hauling, minds keenly aware of larger-than-life site supervisors that lurk beneath muddy waters. Stories shared during shaded breaks tell of surprise encounters and hair-raising escapes. One veteran worker, well worn by years under the sun, tells a tale as absurd as it is compelling. The crocodile must have been jealous. It had a real fascination with our logs that day, gave it a nudge, and sent it sliding back into the Nile. The jest draws a chuckle from the surrounding crew, breaking the tension that hides in the spaces between tasks. Humor runs parallel with vigilance tools necessary for maintaining focus under nature's watchful eye. As the latest block is coaxed into alignment, whispers of the crocodile god Sobek thread through the air, weaving myth into reality. His presence imbues the riverine world with a sacred texture, a reminder of Egypt's rich tapestry of belief. Historians still debate the extent to which faith in such deities altered daily practices, yet here, the blend of myth and reality sometimes feels as solid as the limestone under your fingertips. The sun reaches its zenith, bathing the world in light that dances off water and stone alike. The threat of lurking crocodiles ensures ropes are handled swiftly and rocks are placed with care, vigilance, an unspoken pact among those who work so near the water's edge. Tasks are performed with both reverence and skill, guided by the crocodile's silent presence. To ignore such power would be folly. As the day stretches on, you take a moment to watch the current slip by, tranquil and ancient. The thought occurs that under the placid surface, Sobek's creatures swim not in contempt, but perhaps in a form of supervision, a curious partnership between the makers of monuments and the guardians of the Nile's secrets. As shadows lengthen and the day's close approaches, you gather with others to assemble tools and swap stories of encounters, both real and imagined. The tales linger in the air, like the sweet smoke of incense, intermixed with the unmistakable scent of the earth and the cooling breeze. With the sun setting behind rolling dunes, the silhouette of a crocodile momentarily surfaces, then slips beneath the waters with an elegant finality. The river and its hidden keepers fade into twilight, silenced by the encroaching night. When you retire to the flickering lamplight of your quarters, the dragonfly hum of the river weaves through the oncoming darkness. Sleep's soft call pulls you into dreams where crocodiles are both sentinels and companions, blurring lines between deity and beast. Rest well, fellow traveler between worlds, for even the river's fiercest guardians have lessons to share. Beneath the surface's stillest stretch lies always the unknown, yet within it swims an ancient partnership, enduring as long as man and river intertwine. Sleep now, knowing that a new dawn will soon break, ready to unveil Sobek's secrets anew. The dawn arrives with a delicate touch, a gentle prelude to the arduous symphony of labor awaiting as the first light spills across the horizon. The sight gradually awakens, each worker shaking off the night's tranquil hold to resume the task of raising monuments designed to pierce both sky and history. Today, however, there's a palpable undercurrent of unrest, rippling through the ranks of rebellion simmering beneath the surface, as ancient yet poignant as the stones themselves. Inhaling deeply, you make your way into the heart of an unusual atmosphere. laden with anticipation and veiled tension. Whispers glide from one group of workers to the next, hints of dissatisfaction thickening the air. The burdens of long hours, relentless sun, and sparse rations weigh heavy. Despite the promise of immortality written into stone, the immediate needs of living flesh yearn for satisfaction unmet. The grievances revolve mostly around sustenance, and expected delivery of grain and beer has been delayed. In ancient Egypt, where the pyramid itself was capped by offerings, the work crews rely heavily on timely provisions to fuel their unyielding tasks. Deprivation frays the edges of patience, skewing the balance you and the overseers expertly manage like an unstable scale now tilted on its edge. As the morning unfolds, the tension tightens. The murmur of potential revolt creeps up and down the lines of laborers, crescendoing in pointed groups clustered around workstations. The chorus of swinging hammers becomes uneven, punctuated with frustrated stops and starts. Ironic jests drift like smoke through the air, should build a triangle with three sides. My hunger, my thirst, and what I'm owed, eliciting laughter edged with bitterness. You gather with other leaders to strategize, huddled beneath the minimal shade provided by a stray acacia tree. Together, you assess the situation, each mind grinding desperately to transform crisis into collaboration. An experienced overseer, with years of desert sun etched into his features, offers insights. Appeal to their pride, their place in pyramid history. Remember our work souls on earth are watched by souls beyond. His words remind you of the belief binding the living to the legacy they create, the tether from sweat to eternity. Even as you offer this reassurance to the workers, the reality remains. Physical needs press insistently beneath the horizon of future glory. Historians still argue whether compliance was sustained mostly through coercion, faith, or the tangible promise of sustenance, but you know from experience that a mixture of all three is required to quell unrest and motivate through hardship. With midday's scorching heat as your witness, dialogue slowly turns the tide from unrest to reluctant acceptance. Promises are made to secure additional provisions and to address conditions, returning some measure of equilibrium to the day. The balance's precarious trust has been strained, and taking steps forward requires delicate negotiation. Each leader grasps the importance of relationship over mere regulation. As afternoon advances, lines swing back into hesitant action, powered more by resilience than restored tranquility. The tensions that rose as quickly as the bright morning sun now ebb with its passage across the sky. Once again, work progresses, fueled by aspirations stretched tight across the sinews of human capacity. By evening, harmony is tentatively restored as the sight quiets beneath the twinkling embrace of stars. You retreat to your resting place, wearied by more than just the physical exertion, your mind a tapestry of thoughts ranging from immediate needs to longer-term dreams woven in stone. In the solitude of night, as the cool air massages tired muscles, you reflect upon the day's challenges. You drift towards sleep, aware that resilience is won day by day, through both diligence and empathy. Rest now, both peacemaker and craftsman, for tomorrow's dawn will beckon with its familiar call, requiring once more the guidance of a steady and balanced hand. The dawn breaks in a muted symphony of colors, a gentle whisper of light that blankets the bustling sight. As the first rays of sun stretch their fingers across the terrain, you prepare for another day in the life of an ancient Egyptian architect. Yet today, beneath the familiar rhythms of construction, lies a subtle tension woven into the ever-evolving tapestry of aesthetics and authority. The pharaoh, deity embodied, exercises both command and caprice, sculpting the very essence of style with shifting desires that dictate your world. As you survey the worksite, the grandeur of rising edifices stands testament not only to engineering prowess, but to the ever-changing tastes of those in power. Pharaohs govern with absolute authority, their whims as unpredictable as the Nile's currents. What is deemed fashionable or divine today may fall out of favor tomorrow, each ruler poised to leave an indelible mark upon eternity. Today, the ripples of royal preference are all too apparent. You find yourself pondering potential revisions to current projects, whispers of rounder columns and grander atriums filtering down through high chancellor and priestly decree. These oscillating tastes demand rapid adaptation, for Pharaoh's muse leaves no room for delay. Around you, the workers assemble tools and materials, their collective pace echoing the urgency prompted by recent decrees. They want an obelisk with curves, they say. A fellow architect laughs, spinning the idea with amused incredulity. Next, they'll have us carving triangles with circles at every edge. The jest strikes a chord with everyone it draws laughs, a release of tension shared among the many who face the ever-shifting sands of style. As the sun climbs higher, you engage with scribes to sketch the potential adjustments. New lines are drawn that reflect the pharaoh's whims, weaving old vision with contemporary requirement. Historians still debate whether the evolution of style emerged from divine conversation, interdynastic inspiration, or mere fancy. But within the bounds of the worksite, those musings turn to active practice. Throughout the day, amid the hum of chisels and the measured thud of hammers, the task of aligning vision and practicality unfolds across a landscape lush with ambition and constraints. As you develop these new arcs and spans, you marvel at the fluidity of human creativity, bending to fit the mold of perceived divinity. By late afternoon, design solutions dawn upon you like the gentle touch of dusk, coaxing shape into structure, fortifying curves with integrity. The fusion between invention and decree reveals a complexity born from human beauty, your mind, an alchemist's crucible where ideas blend richly with stone foundations. In the warmth of twilight, as the sky weaves vibrant threads of color in farewell to another day, conversations shift from planning to reflection. You gather with fellow laborers and architects, sharing stories under the dimming sky, knowing well the value of perspective, knowing that while tastes of rulers may change like river currents, the resilience of art is, in its ability to adapt, a creative constant in history's unfolding. As your thoughts turn toward restful respite, the day's challenges melt into the vast tapestry of dream and design, imagination tracing shadowed paths on the walls of tomorrow. Leaning back, you gaze upward, through deep purple twilight to the skylines you help shape every day. In the quiet solitude of nightfall, you surrender to sleep's gentle call, your mind drifting among dreams where vision is as malleable as sandstone in a sculptor's hands. Rest well, shaper of stone and stars, for tomorrow beckons with an open canvas and fresh decree. Guide your dreams wisely, for they become the realities for Pharaoh and his lineage, leaving imprints deeper than the ever-shifting sands. The dawn unfurls slowly over the horizon, its light creeping across the sight and stirring the world awake. As you prepare for the day ahead, thoughts of precision and geometry weave through your mind. The art of ancient Egyptian architecture is often as much about numbers and angles as it is about stone and sweat. Today, you are reminded of the monumental task of subjugating geometry, a challenge, both exhilarating and daunting in the same breath. The complex interplay of form and function is the foundation upon which grandiose pyramids ascend skyward and opulent temples stretch luxuriously beneath the sun. Every angle must hold meaning, every measurement must align with cosmic order. The precision required evokes admiration and anxiety in equal measure, especially when attempting to recreate the sacred harmony adhered to by the ancients. You wander through the site's organized chaos, eyes sweeping over workers carefully heaving massive blocks into place. The harmony that geometry demands is visible in their synchronized movements, each step calculated and deliberate. It is this unity of motion that brings life to inanimate stone, casting the skeletal blueprint into vibrant relief. As the workforce attends to their assignments, you find yourself eyeing the hand-drawn calculations, trailing across sheets of papyrus lines of symbols that speak to a world where numbers dance in delicate precision. Historians still argue about how the ancients managed such extraordinary feats using rudimentary tools and principles, yet here you stand, drawing upon those same wondrous techniques. This morning, your task is aligning vast sequences with minute increments. The challenge lies not only in accuracy, but in melding the world of mathematics with divine narratives, where numbers align with celestial intentions in service of the gods. The exchange of ideas among your comrades captures the ancient interplayer, seamless marriage between discipline and imagination. Between the strokes of calculation, laughter floats amid the din. They say each corner aligns with a star, but I've yet to find the one guiding my lunch. One worker jests. referencing the precision common to both the heavens and earth. The humor breaks the tension, allowing brief levity amid focused rigidity. Midday arrives with the sun ablaze overhead, burning lines into earth and etching figures into stone. Precision requires your full attention, coaxed from the interplay of shadow and light. As you follow familiar paths, your focus turns once more to calculation angles checked thrice against the whispers of a summer breeze, softly invoking Ra's energies. Through exhaustion, clarity emerges. Calculations turn into guidelines, each stone laid a testament to mathematical beauty captured in time. The sun begins its descent, as the integration of complex minutiae and grand vision guides your hands and mind alike, governing the unfolding of divine narratives written into the flesh of Egypt herself. As day fades to twilight, the equations come alive amid billowing dust and murmured chants that honor ancestors who wove the same symphony of shapes. Each calculation inscribed, preserved like secrets sheathed in shadows, points restlessly towards the far legacy. Buildings granted breath from numbers, and eternity whisper histories both seen and unseen. You retire for the night, balancing tired limbs with fulfilled curiosity, resting knowing you've unveiled yet another seam along history's intricate tapestry. As sleep envelops you, thoughts of pyramids and starlit alignments dance within dreams, releasing the awe and reverence held from the day's practice study. Rest now, bridge builder of worlds, shaper of geometric dreams. In sleep's embrace, may wisdom shared with brilliant minds of old find you anew upon dawn's first light, leading you further along this hallowed path. The day emerges slowly, waking with the sun's gradual rise over the undulating dunes. Light trickles through the fabric of early morning, casting the world in soft relief as you make your way to the worksite. Here, amidst the structured chaos of creation, your role as overseer is as critical as the very stones being set into place. The burden you bear is considerable, for in the ancient world of Egyptian architecture, oversight transcends mere technicality. It is an art of both guidance and governance, weighed with responsibility's profound shadow. The custom of overseeing these monumental projects feels like shepherding the dreams of the ages, coaxing stone into sky-reaching poetry. Each line and curve, dictated by the Pharaoh's decree and divine inspiration, must manifest with crisp precision. Every directive, executed under your watchful gaze, is as essential as the sun's first breath upon the sands. Today's tasks require not only acuity but foresight. You met with colleagues amid shelters of layered stone to discuss the expanse of progress and the inevitable challenge of preserving alignment. The positioning of stones must adhere to the Pharaoh's grand vision, balancing celestial alignments with earthly demands. Even a small deviation can spell disastrous shift unnoticed, might ripple with catastrophic consequence across the ages. As labor progresses, you make your rounds, offering guidance and ensuring each laborer, well-tuned as an instrument, fulfills their singular role in the greater symphony. You catch sight of a worker adjusting a pulley, brow furrowed beneath unruly strands of hair escaping his head wrap. Joining him, you guide his hands, instruction firm yet reassuring oversight, woven through unity. In these moments, humor serves as an unspoken bond, lightening the weight of constant oversight. If only Pharaoh handed us his chisel along with his dreams, a colleague proposes, laughter threading through the worksite's medley of clinking stone and harmony. Noon casts sharp shadows upon the stone's emblems of time's persistence and the eternal struggle of man against nature. As afternoon progresses, your oversight is tested further. A block sits slightly askew, its misalignment rippling deeper ramifications. You direct immediate attention to corrections, vigilance forged in quick decisions, tempered with the patience of stone placed millennia ago and lasting until this very moment. Historians still argue the subtleties of oversight among the grand projects of ancient Egypt, debating whether skilled craftsmen self-coordinated or if master architects dictated every stroke. You stand amid this debate, a bridge between the practical and the sublime, reassurance and challenge, both sculpted from the task at hand. As daylight wanes, and the site settles into quiet, rhythmic diligence eases to a close, the constancy of oversight wearies the mind, yet your spirit is unblemished. Holding the privilege of having guided today's story, set into relentless stone, You pause, eyeing the horizon as it gathers hues emerald and crimson, boundless to the east. The familiar path home unfurls as memory, enriched with the day's endeavors, follows your footsteps pieced upon earth now etched with dream. As you retire, shadows cool against ran exhaustion, you lean into rest, where echoes of your role find haven. Sleep tempts with gentle whispers, embracing the relay between sun-struck transit and moonlit grace. Let solace find you, ever watchful steward, in the quiet absence of oversight. For tomorrow, each stone, each grain of sand, will require your skilled touch once again, awaiting the guidance of your steady hand. As dreams entwine with the lingering hold of imagination, may they lift your thoughts beyond horizon's edge, casting fresh visions for the dawn yet to rise anew. As the first light of dawn spills across the ancient landscape, you prepare to face another day of relentless effort and dedication. Beyond the drive to construct, another facet of life requires attention, a necessity as familiar as the stone and sand: sustenance. For the ancient Egyptian laborer and architect alike, daily life is entwined with a diet that supports the body's demands. And yet, it is as predictable as the sunrise, inadequate to spark delight, but critical to enduring the rigors of the worksite. Bread, as staple to your existence as faith and sand, provides the foundation of nutrition. Its aroma, coarse and robust, follows you from makeshift ovens to sun-baked mounds. Bread, wreathed with eternal symbolism, feeds both body and spirit. Each day begins with this essential offering, a cycle as ingrained as the sun's path across the sky. Onions, too, pungent and potent, accompany your morning repast. Their sharp scent fills the air, unmistakable and unwavering, a simple consistency amid life's unending vicissitudes. Modern musings might find it surprising to see these humble ingredients as cornerstones, yet in this harsh and demanding world, even onions become treasured allies. The layers of an onion are like the plans of a pyramid, a fellow worker points out with a wry smile, till you slip, and it all falls apart. Given their simplicity, the meals you prepare might seem repetitive. Critics of unchanging dinners grant truth to this tale, though you and your colleagues find ways to inspire festivity from scarcity, weaving in leisure with vine leaves or herbs when available. Often, laughter carries more seasoning than luxury, rendering even the blandest fare more palatable. "What's the Pharaoh's favorite soup?" jokes one worker over lunch. "Anything without sand." This revelry nourishes the spirit, an indispensable companion to bread-earned strength. Between shared meals and shared tales, tales of abundant days and rare banquets shared beneath the eternal Egyptian sky-pepper conversation, seen as myth more than potential. While the Nile's sacred waters bring life to fields and people, the divide between plenty and necessity remains a difficult tributary to cross. As the sun climbs high and work resumes, thoughts of sustenance weave back into the task's tenor. The repetitiveness of sustenance becomes a grounding rhythm, marking centuries with pregnant simplicity. Against hunger's backdrop, wonders of monumental grandeur rise from seed to fruition, a testament to patience and endurance indeed. Labor stretches and wanes with the Nile's rhythm, each measure mirrored by the workers you walk among. They laugh, work, lament, and celebrate their place within the vastness of daily miracles, and you find your strength renewed, used to the contrast between diet and destiny unfolding upon sands eternal. As evening descends, casting a soothing balm over your labors, the site's noise retreats to murmurs, coalescing with the melody of Nile's gentle flow. The simplicity embraced in ancient grains, rendered rich with perseverance, guides you homeward again. There, you retreat into the soft cocoon of night's oncoming embrace. Quiet in repose, nourished by the strength wrought from humble fare, your dreams are steeped in continuity. You let sleep cradle you, its warmth and rest enfolded within the echoes of the day's quiet, triumphant march. Your mind drifts between scenes of rustic meals and monumental designs, charting tomorrow's courses. Rest now in the gentle hold of the moonlight's balmy kiss. Architect bound by stars, guardian of dreams and bread. Revitalize, for tomorrow awaits yet another cycle of endurance and creation fueled by all that you secure, both upon and beyond Egypt's hallowed grounds. The new day dawns with an orchestra of colors that sweep across the horizon, offering a spectacle as timeless as the stones you work with. As you embark on today's journey, there is another layer to the narrative that beckons your attention: your workforce, woven from the threads of diverse cultures and languages, creating a patchwork of humanity that propels this grand ambition forward. In ancient Egypt, labor often spans broad regions, bringing together people of varying backgrounds, each contributing unique skills to the monumental endeavor. Here among the builders and the craftsmen, the air is thick with a symphony of tongues, their melodies blending into a chorus with words both foreign and familiar. Your role as an architect demands more than just expertise in stone. It involves bridging the gap between these peoples, harmonizing efforts toward a common goal. With the rising sun, tasks begin anew, but with them come the whispers of misunderstandings and the hum of miscommunications that can tumble the best-laid plans. Commanding this crew of disparate origins requires both patience and creativity. What did the quarry worker say to the mason who didn't understand him? Quips a laborer nearby, attempting to lighten the load. Rock around the clock until it fits. The jest, nestled in humor, hints at the complexities of overcoming language barriers, something the entire team, including yourself, must navigate daily. As you guide the projects forward, you find there is wisdom in the diversity of perspective and experience. An overseer from Nubia contributes techniques for moving stone that have been honed over generations, while artisans from the Red Sea coast introduce new methods of mixing pigments for murals that breathe life into dull surfaces. Historians still argue how such multicultural teams were managed, whether strict hierarchies pervaded or collaborative methods prevailed. On the ground, the dance of cultures requires adaptability and an open exchange of ideas, a puzzle with pieces of different shapes and origins that with effort and finesse slot into the mosaic of progress. The midday sun casts shadows long and lithe over the site, and you call for a break, encouraging mingling among the teams. Together, they share stories and meals, their conversations painted with laughter, and the breaking of bread steeped with shared humanity. In these moments, as stories bridge the cultural gaps, labor transforms into community. By afternoon, the energy shifts a smooth tide, driven by an understanding forged in both word and silence. Missteps still color the scene, occasionally causing ripples, but never stalling the steady momentum as work advances with renewed vigor. As the day wanes, you reflect upon the lesson nested within the day's endeavors, the recognition that unity among differences fosters strength. The project benefits greatly from diverse influences, each enriching the tapestry of architectural pursuits that weave a narrative as elaborate and enduring as the temples themselves. As the sun dips below the horizon, setting the sky aflame with gold and crimson, you escort your team from the site. The sounds of multiple dialects linger like a mellifluous undertone echoing into the dusk. Your role has transcended beyond architect to ambassador of unity, a bridge builder, not just of stone but of people brought together by a common goal. Upon returning home, the soft embrace of evening shadows lulls you into contemplative repose. As sleep approaches, you find your dreams filled with visions of temples and pyramids, rising not only from stones, but from shared understanding and cooperation. Ancient voices entwine in your subconscious, a reminder that within diversity lies boundless potential. Rest deeply, architect of unity and dreamer of dreams. The bonds you weave today under the vastness of the starry canopy will be the foundation for tomorrow's triumphs. Let sleep rejuvenate your spirit, for with the coming dawn, the harmonies of many tongues shall rise again, guiding your hand and heart in the eternal rhythm of creation. As the first light of dawn unfurls across the horizon, the sight stirs once more with the familiar rhythms of labor and anticipation. Yet, today's tasks command a shift from stone and scaffolding to the rugged endurance of an epic journey. In the quest for durable resources that feed these towering ambitions, your role as an architect demands forays beyond the secure confines of the worksite and into the unknown, into the distant quarries where the very bones of the monuments are unearthed. The arduous trek to these quarries is a crucible of patience and fortitude, an expedition that tests not only physical stamina, but leadership and adaptability. Situated far from the settled banks of the Nile, these mineral-rich locales hold treasures coveted by pharaohs, but require determination to reach. The journey commences before the sun fully crowns the horizon, the earliest light guiding your path through the waking world. You assemble with a convoy of laborers and craftsmen, each tasked with collecting a bounty of stone to supply the immense appetite of the ongoing constructions. Camels groan under the weight of provisions, their silhouettes stretching long and narrow against the rising dawn. Setting out, the caravan stretches like a sinuous serpent across the undulating dunes, each step soundtracked by the crunch of sand underfoot. You lead the group with confidence hard-earned by repeated travel, aware that the way forward bridges both time and space, a narrow thread clinging to the fabric of Egypt's vast landscape. As the sun ascends higher, the temperature follows suit, and the arduous nature of the journey becomes starkly apparent. Yet, as miles pass beneath the shadow of stone and perseverance, camaraderie deepens. The bards among you sing old chants, rhythmic voices uplifted by the symphony of camaraderie, sending hearts soaring beyond thirst and fatigue. Jokingly, one laborer shouts over the buzz of conversation, "What do you get when you cross a camel and a rock?" He adopts a mock-serious tone, reveling in the anticipation before revealing stubborn company and a mule load of mirth. Laughter reverberates across the sandy expanse, easing the burden of the endless trek. The quarry looms ahead, a yawning scar carved into the earth. It is an awe-inspiring tableau painted with the echoes of pickaxes and the soft symphony of scraping stone. The laborers spring into action, their chisels ringing out in concert as they slice chunks of precious limestone from the mother rock. Historians still debate the methodologies employed by ancient Egyptians to extract and transport massive stones across such inhospitable terrain, but the simple truth of it rests in sheer human will, an indelible testament to resilience written in carven dust. As the sun curtsies on the horizon, casting the quarry in an amber embrace, the day's work nears completion. The convoy prepares to return, bearing the stone that will bind the dreams of pharaohs to the earth below. Carefully, you supervise the loading of these precious blocks, balancing speed with caution to ensure the safe passage home. The journey back unfolds beneath the vast and eager stars, each step accompanied by stories of past adventures and future dreams warmly passed along the line. The unity forged from shared hardships comes alive as laughter spikes the cool desert air, weaving companionship from common resolve. When the convoy arrives back at the worksite under the silvery gaze of a full moon, weary bodies bend and stretch, their shadows an entwined tapestry of effort and triumph. The fruits of your expedition rest heavily upon the sand, soon to be carved into the visions that rise from dreams to reality. As night deepens and swallows the day, you succumb to comforting fatigue, the soft pulse of a job well done echoing within. With each night's rest, may the stars guide you along the paths less traveled, whispering lullabies of endurance rewarded. Rest now, seeker of distant stones and forgotten trails, for tomorrow you blend those efforts with vision, in a dance of creation continuing under the sun's return. With the break of dawn, a blossoming wash of light spills across the landscape, heralding another day at the heart of an ancient mysteria, language of stone and symbol that binds the endless horizon to human aspiration. As an architect in Egypt's bustling tapestry, your role demands fluency in more than the physical dimensions. It involves mastering a complex jargon, esoteric dialect of masonry and monument, building, as rich as the Nile's fertile veins. This special language, whispered among architects and laborers, encodes the blueprint of dreams. Each word and phrase carries generations of knowledge, principles hammered into existence through trial, error, and the steady march of time. It's an evolving dialect, one that unites teams of workers with the precision of numbers and the elegance of form. Today, as the sun ascends its arc, you gather with your fellow architects and skilled laborers, reviewing the plans stretched between outstretched arms. A dialogue, etched in lines and symbols, only you and your companions fully understand. Hieroglyphs bind the abstract with the substantive, the imagined with the crafted. This coded lexicon etches the bounds within which grand caprices take shape. Collected whispers rise amid the morning flurry, conveying hidden meanings. "Enlighten our pillars," says a scribe knowingly, meaning to align them perfectly, to catch the sun's mantle as it traverses day's arc. Their dual nature is a delight, shrouding instruction and oversight with layers of connotative elegance. Historians still discuss how knowledge and linguistic nuances pass through the ages, whether keenly guarded secrets or shared openly. The camaraderie unique to each worksite bridges communication barriers through a shared language, refined to deliver fascination from foundation to spire. In the heat of midday, as the stifling sun lays its claim upon your worksite, the language adapts to its environment. Short bursts of communication relay detailed orders, instructions charged with urgency and specificity. Despite the toil, humor seeps its way between exchanges as a worker calls over, "Don't let the Sphinx hear us whisper. She's tighter with secrets than this unforgiving heat." With a silent nod, you gesture to an apprentice, demonstrating the nuanced pitch of stone placed carefully into its resting niche. The subtle exchanger movement shared in knowing alignment transcends the need for verbiage, imbuing stone with meaning, coded in the subtext of trade. Too soon, afternoon transitions to evening's embrace, casting long shadows along the steady climb of walls and columns, now standing tall beneath the sky's mauve expanse. Each structure is imbued not only with architectural significance, but the invisible threads of language, knit tightly around collective ambition. It anchors the work itself, not just within the boundaries of the project, but in the memory of the laborers whose hands crafted vision's frame. As the day's toils reach their gentle close, and the air cools with the desert's evening sigh, you find yourself amidst your companions, swapping stories. Each story hums with the unique timbre of language shared, each anecdote an invisible monument to kinship. When night unfolds across the sky, you retire with a weary yet content heart, knowing that today's labors are enshrined within the inexhaustible language of stones. The words convey the infinite splendor of human ambition, merging through intent and deed. As you drift gently into sleep, dreams weave a tapestry of language spoken without words, commands uttered without sound, where every stone tells a story crafted from the dialect of dreams. Rest easy, custodian of the unwritten tongue, for tomorrow the precision of whispers turns bold once more, recreating reality beneath the sun's unblinking gaze. The first glimmers of daylight thread through the tapestry of night, casting a delicate lacework of shadows and light across the ancient stone structures. As you walk through the bustling site, the morning air is cool against your skin soon. It will thicken and heat under the relentless desert sun. Today's focus turns to the meticulous art of repair work, preserving the aging face of magnificence against time's inexorable passage. In the world of ancient Egyptian architecture, the imperative to maintain the integrity of monumental creations is as critical as the initial act of construction. The grand edifices, with their towering columns and intricately carved reliefs, stand as a testament to human aspiration. Yet, inevitably, the elements conspire to wear down even the mightiest of stone. The task of today involves careful inspection and delicate restoration, pulling from knowledge etched into the wisdom of centuries. As the sun climbs higher, illuminating the rich details of the hieroglyphs and statues, you assemble your team of skilled artisans and begin the day's work. Every chisel stroke, every brush of the hand is an act of reverence, preserving not only the structure, but the stories encapsulated within its ancient forms. Conversation flows freely amid the labor, each artisan sharing insights on techniques honed over years of practice. "Can you believe the Sphinx lost its nose again?" jests one of your colleagues, a sparkle of humor in his eyes, as he points toward an unfinished statue in need of repair. Laughter ripples through the group, binding together the artisans in a shared camaraderie born from the labor of love. The day progresses through stages of repair. Some sections demand careful cleaning. Others require the precision of new fragments, shaped to fit seamlessly into existing patterns. Through each adjustment, you guide the efforts with a steady hand, balancing the act of preservation with respect for the past's sacred artistry. Historians still debate how laborers of antiquity deduced methods to mend their colossal works, whether guided by trial and error, whispers of ancestral wisdom, or divine inspiration. Yet here, among sun-drenched spires and shadowed alcoves, the routine is practiced yet always evolving, informed by tradition yet adaptable to new discoveries. By midday, the site hums with industrious energy. You pause to survey the progress. The stones seem to murmur with gratefulness, their surfaces revitalized and once more poised to meet the centuries. Lineages protected by the deftness of work convey the loom between past and future, binding the purpose of your labors in a cycle of continuity. As the afternoon drapes the sky in its golden embrace, you gather your team to reflect on the day's achievements. Each repaired fragment, each rejuvenated relief, stands as proof that vigilance wields the power to wrangle time's advance, breathing new vitality into antiquity's legacy. The sun sinks low, casting a warm, honeyed glow across the site. You collect the tools and bid farewell to the ancient stones, their presence felt as guardians of civilization's enduring manuscript. In the quietude that follows the day's bustle, appreciation mingles with the satisfaction bred by skilled craftsmanship. As evening unfurls, you return to your quarters cleansed by the day's accomplishments. You recline into relaxation, with the soft murmur of crickets and the Nile's eternal whisper weaving into your consciousness. Your mind navigates images of stone and stories preserved, narrations unbroken by time's tempest. Rest easy in the gentle mesh of nightfall, architect of renewal, for while history is retold in whispers etched into stone, the new day will soon etch again the stories continuing beneath stars' watchful gaze. Sleep deeply, knowing that through your hands and will, the legacy is secured both in memory and in the enduring silhouette of civilization's dreams. The dawn light gradually unfurls across the land, casting an ethereal glow over the remnants of the past. Today, as you prepare for another day of work, your mind drifts towards one of the most enduring tales whispered among the workers, the mythical and ominous curse associated with the builders of royal tombs. This morning, the air feels charged with mystery as talk of curses weaves its way through the workers' cautious whispers. In the realm of ancient Egypt, pharaohs believed in an afterlife as resplendent as their earthly existence, a journey secured by tombs filled with treasures, art, and the promise of eternity. Yet, the tombs, so carefully constructed and intricately decorated, weren't merely resting places. They were sanctuaries, fiercely protected, sometimes by more than just stone and secrecy. There are stories, woven deeply into the fabric of your consciousness, warning of the supposed curse cast to guard these sacred sites, said to befall those daring to disturb a pharaoh's eternal rest. As you walk the length of the worksite, overseeing artisans meticulously chipping away at the blocks that will soon become another grand testament to time, the day is punctuated with nervous stories. Workers share tales embellished, with each retelling stories of misfortune, striking those who once disturbed the burial places of kings. The legends play on the imagination, as individuals recount mysterious ailments or accidents, believed to be the manifestations of these ancient oaths. Do you think Imhotep needs a new roommate in eternity? A worker jests, breaking the unease with humor seasoned by superstition. Laughter breaks the tension, though not entirely dispelling the shared acknowledgement of the mysteries that lie beneath the sands, still as alluring and chilling as they were in tales told by firelight. Historians continue to debate the legitimacy of these curses, whether they are real or a clever construct designed to frighten would-be thieves and maintain enduring reverence. Yet, the weight of legacy, protected by myth and memory, holds sway over those who carve and craft within sacred thresholds. As the sun climbs higher, painting the skies with its golden palette, you proceed to oversee the delicate work of preserving the tomb's ornate chambers, ensuring the structure's architectural integrity remains untouched by time. Each engraved wall, filled with hieroglyphs that chronicle a pharaoh's voyage to Osiris's embrace, bears the essence of existence beyond this life, the ceaseless chain binding past to present. The sacred texts, invitations to the gods, and guides into the afterlife, remind everyone present of the unfathomable balance between reverence and craftsmanship. The day wanes, with each shadow lengthening as you gather your team to close the day's labors. The whispers of curses continue to ghost their way through conversations, haunting as the echo of a sandstorm on the horizon. Whether fact or fable, they serve as an enduring testament to the respect bestowed upon life death, and memoritanious, yet eternal threads, binding mankind's consciousness across the ages. As evening embraces the land, you find solace in the shared understanding of these warnings, woven into the lineage of Egyptian lore. The quiet sense of resolve imbues your spirit as the cool night air carries the distant song of crickets and the gentle lull of the Nile. As you return to your resting place, tales of curses blend within the narrative of your dreams, their shadows wrapping around the edges of slumber. Rest well, guardian of both legacy and myth, for in dreams shared by stone and story, the consciousness of history breathes eternally through your careful shepherding beneath the eternal star's gentle watch. With the dawn's tender light comes a sense of quiet contemplation, as if the whole world holds its breath. Today, your thoughts venture toward a concern deeply personal and profoundly universal. Legacy you and your fellow architects strive to build within the grandiose tapestries of ancient Egypt. These structures, carved from sweat and stone, are meant to endure, but the sands of time whisper the riddle of uncertainty into your ear. Will the work outlive the generation that births it or crumble unrecognized in the future's shifting winds? As the sun begins its ascent, actors of this grand drama prepare the day's stage. While the workers gather stone and tools, there's a sense of introspection woven into their routines, each individual quietly aware of their part in a much larger narrative. The land you fashion is one suspended between glory and obscurity, and you wonder will succeeding generations regard these creations with the reverence they command today, or will they become mere footnotes in the annals of time? Conversations among the workers reflect a similar introspection. What happens when the pharaoh's name fades from memory? Posits a stonemason during a respite from toil. Who will tell our stories then? There's an earnestness behind the questioner, yearning for assurance that doesn't come with the ringing of chisels against stone. The question of legacy is both a burden and a gift, prompting deep reflection on what it means to leave a mark upon the world. You and your fellow architects labor not only for the here and now, but in the trust that what you create will speak volumes beyond your years, forming the bridges between past, present, and future. Historians continue to ponder whether the architects of antiquity felt this weight as keenly as you do, or if they considered only the tangible results of their efforts. Standing amidst rising walls and sweeping courtyards, it is easy to be swept up by the immediate glory of Pharaoh's vision, yet the enduring question lingers unseen, not unlike film woven in moonlight. These thoughts interweave as you direct your teams, guiding the careful assembly of stones. Every decision and adjustment bears an unspoken promise to the futura, pledged that this labor of today will become its own voice for those who tread the same sands in centuries to come. It's a dialogue with time as enduring as the Nile, carving its indelible path through history. As the sun dips beyond the horizon, releasing its golden clutch on the lands, you join your colleagues in quiet companionship. The conversations drift as shadows, deepen connections, forged in moments of shared hope that the work you do will endure in significance and memory. As you retire, the night weaving its tapestry of stars across infinity's breadth, dreams tug at your consciousness, a gentle reminder of the transient nature of existence. You glimpse fleeting visions of pride and potential of the edifices you build, standing eternal against time's desert stillness. Sleep welcomes you with tranquil arms, whispers of legacy entwined in the fabric of your slumbers. As the world turns beneath its celestial canopy, rest assured that within each stone rests the promise of a story yet to be told. Dream well, master of creation, immersed in both the here and now and the not yet written, poised on the brink of history's ongoing tale. The first hues of dawn wrap the world in an ethereal glow, stretching across the horizon as if easing the earth into another day of toil and triumph. As the familiar rhythms of ancient Egyptian life awaken around you, the air hums with a serene acknowledgement of the journey thus far. A journey that blends the tangible with the temporal, leaving an indelible mark on both land and heart. Today, in the profound quiet of early morning, reflection and anticipation weave tightly together. This day stands as a culmination not only of many years' work, but of efforts threaded through generations. These stones, these structures, are far more than mere physical form. They encapsulate dreams, ambitions, and the ceaseless drive toward eternity. your legacy not just as an architect but as a custodian of human aspiration. As the sun rises higher, illuminating the world in warm tones, you attend to your daily responsibilities with a calm assurance that has grown comfortable through experience. Every plan and decision made here carries the weight of lessons learned, preserving the delicate balance between creation and conservation. Yet there's a poignant softness today, as if the air itself bends to listen to the whispers of time of promises made and futures unfurled. The work proceeds in a gentle rhythm, guided with care and precision by hands both fresh and seasoned, united by purpose and an unspoken trust that extends beyond the boundaries of now. By midday, you pause, feeling the sun's gentle push warming stone beneath your fingers, a tactile reminder of the connection between your labor and the earth. The monumental feats realized stand testament to the spirit dwelling within these endeavors, reaching through time to carve its narrative in the consciousness of those who will follow. Throughout the afternoon, camaraderie among the workers vibrates with stories shared and laughter, lightening labor's weight, much like the shadows growing long as the sun meanders westward. Each voice rises in toast to a shared past, grateful for steps walked shoulder to shoulder, on paths lined with perseverance and hope. What do these hands know? A craftsman muses. Only what history teaches them and what dreams compel them to create. Even as evening draws near, a quiet serenity blankets the worksite, questions of legacy resolved in acts rather than words, and memories crystallized into form. The world slows its heartbeat as the sun dips into the embrace of the horizon, marking not an end but an elegant reminder that life's greatest endeavor is to pause and breathe amid its restless march. As night descends, it brings the earth to tranquility, stars softly igniting the ink-black sky with ancient light. You retreat from the site where brilliance was born, from whispering sands and dreaming mindsa, legacy forged from stone and ambition. In the dip of darkness, you let rest claim you, a quiet acknowledgement of the harmonies between dream and destiny and the eternal rhythm that frames them. Here, the edges blur between the world of wakefulness and the realm of dreams that cradle it, fading gently past and future, within time's cyclical embrace. Let your eyes close softly, yielding to the soft lull of night. May dreams enfold your consciousness, weaving a cocoon of starlit visions and woven tapestries. Through this, the story whispers on amid echoes of the past and breath of the future, interlaced with eternity's gentle pulse. Sweet dreams, architect of yesterday and tomorrow, as you weave through time and stone, ensuring that generations will find inspiration in the shadows and light of legacies crafted beneath your steady gaze. Rest now as history cradles you, and in its tender hold, dream deeply, dream wide, dream true. Sweet dreams.